in the UI. Alright, so we have player health text. I think we've seen some of this before. None of this is terribly important. Down here, this is new because I think we did text somewhere else. We did it here. Font, alignment, wrapping, pretty basic stuff for text. I'm going to add another one. We're going to call this player score text. We don't need that really, unless I wanted to change it later. Booyah. Now the thing about this one, never mind. I was going to start talking. Since I don't have any of these centered, a lot of times I'll have a habit of centering text because I don't know. I did it a lot with Microsoft Word when I was designing legal documents and stuff like that. It might just be habit. But if I had these centered, this one I want to keep left aligned, so that way when the score gets bigger and bigger, this kind of stays put. Because if this was centered and this gets bigger and bigger, the entire thing shifts. And then it can start eating or bleeding over other objects you have. Alright, so let's kind of organize this. I'll make that 5-5. It's always a good idea to keep this on the same y-axis position so it looks more organized. So we could put score all the way over here if we wanted to. We can add level. So we could do that. Level 1 kind of will probably be a placeholder. And we can add this. Let's do it right here. And one thing I know we're eventually going to want to do is make this more opaque, so that way you don't see it, but you can see it. So that way it's not really in your way as much. Good save. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you a basic thing that we can do. Okay, so we have our text for health, and we have our variable for health. This is the basic way, the start way, the entry level way to do this. You make an every tick function. Oh, scratch my back. What's up here? Every tick. Player health text. You want to set it, the text. Now, do you want to just set it straight up to the variable? No, because the variable is just the digit, the numeric value. So you'll notice you have quotes, and this is how you combine quotes and a variable in here. Yeah, I'll construct you. One example anyway. So we want to keep the same health, the same colon, and the space even. And then you just add an and you could go into here and go in the system, player health, and eventually once you eventually get it like the back of your hand, you'll probably just type this out. And so basically every single tick that the game is running, which a tick is I don't remember off the top of my head, but it is sub seconds, like thousandths of a second, hundredths of a second. I totally forgot off the top of my head, but yeah. So in essence, this is always going to keep your player health text set to health and whatever the value is. I'm going to make a cheat. I like to call this admin cheats. You know what? While I have you here, I'm going to show you a little trick. Well, not a trick. It's kind of I use it for organizational purposes. You can use it for functionality purposes as well. I keep a lot of events grouped by groups, redundancy, but organized by groups. So here, let's make one called cheats, and I'm going to make another one called what should I call this? Start menu. Yeah, let's make one called start menu. And so, okay, so let's say we have, oh, let's make one for loading too, might as well. Splash menu, whatever. So each event, as long as it doesn't really get organized for you and cause an issue, you can start reorganizing stuff. But like I said, sometimes you want stuff to stay up here because it has to trigger first, and so you can't just reorganize it that easy. You always have to consider that. However, a lot of times, see, this is completely defined on starter layout. Which layout? The loading layout. Okay, what happens? Boom, boom, boom. All that is completely defined. If anything was like in a specific order of triggering, then you have to be more concerned. So this is loading. This is relative to loading, even though it's disabled. So I'm going to go ahead and just highlight both of those, drag them down here. And if you right click this and go to edit, you'll notice you can have it active on start if you want. I almost always do because I only, like I said, I only mostly use this for organizational purposes, because what it can do is, depending on how many events you write, like one of my other games, I have like over 1,000. You'll have a screen. There's so much to look at. Even if you do a search through the event, whatchamacallit, then it's just so much to look at. So let's go and organize this, and I'll show you what I mean. So start menu, start menu, start menu, start menu stuff. On starter layout, start menu, menu background, destroy. I think, yeah, I was showing you guys something about that at the end of the last video. So I'm going to throw that down here. Player, collision, death, all that's kind of player oriented. You could add it to death oriented, you could add it to level transitions, however you want it. Okay, so you have all that good stuff, and I was going to make a cheat, so I'll do that before I reorganize this. On key pressed, let's do the one key. We are going to subtract from player health by 1. Actually, yeah, let's do it by 1. Let's do by 3. We'll make it kind of, let's do 4. We'll make it kind of odd. So it's not like, well, 1's making 1 trigger. Nah, it's not 1, 1, it's 1, 4. So that's a cheat. That's an admin cheat. A lot of times you'll make your own cheats that only you know about, so you can test breaking your own game, so you can test variable functionality, problems, troubleshooting. So you'll notice how all that disappeared, that coding disappeared down to this nice organized set of groups. You can't do that with globals, unfortunately, because this is what's going to happen. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. Even if you put it all the way at the top, scope, oh, let me show you what that said. Scope, change, removed items, blah 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 blah, were removed. You can Control Z to undo this, because most likely you will want to. And you'll notice how it changed. I think I only moved that one, but it changed it from a global to a local, and so that basically broke, your global variables. So you just want to undo that. So never do that unless you know that you want to. So it looks much better. Okay. And that every tick is actually a UI thing. Sometimes I'll get too groupy